And a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, Interim General Manager at WEIU. My co-host is Mr. Daniel Jones.
Happy Monday and happy March. It's now March.
And our guest today making a repeat appearance. We're going to talk a little EIU football with Mr. Adam Cushing, the EIU football head coach.
Jeff, Daniel, how are you? Appreciate you having me today.
Appreciate you coming in today, Coach. I know it's not what we wanted to be talking about today, but like I said, football is back. High school football starts in a couple of weeks. College football, at least for the FCS level, is here. So address yesterday in terms of not the outcome you wanted, but, give us your take on it and where we go from here.
Yeah, as you said, not the outcome that we wanted, but I'll be honest, it's impossible to beat two teams on any given game day, and the Panthers just went out and beat the Panthers yesterday. So that was the bottom line. Watching the video, it's pretty apparent we made enough mistakes that no chance to beat a really good football team that rolled in here, a nationally ranked team. And but the great part of it is, we kept talking about those 463 days between game days for us, and now we're not going to be at that anymore, and we got a bunch of true freshmen that played football for us yesterday, and then a bunch of guys, again, that hadn't played in 463 days, that now they get that game day feel back, and we can get in that normal rhythm.
And SEMO had a game, too. That was their second game, so they had the feeling down, so it gave them a little bit of advantage there as well.
Yeah, certainly. I think that played a factor. I mean, that's on us as coaches. We've got to do a better job preparing our guys for that game day environment. But yeah, their game in the fall, I think, allowed them to have that and a lot of teachable opportunities that we'll have today.
Daniel?
So I'm sure it's pretty foreign that football is now happening in the spring, and I know probably for like the last couple of months, no one knew whether a football season was going to happen. So when did you find out that the season was going to take place, and did you have time to prepare? How much time did you have to prepare and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when we postponed in August, we spent a good portion of the fall at the conference level working out what the plan was going to be for the spring. And I can't tell you the exact date that our schedule got released, but it was late November, early December, somewhere in that range. We knew because we had, and maybe even a little earlier than that, we put together a plan to really prepare the guys and know exactly what December and January was going to look like, so that we could, create some sense of normalcy for them in a lead up to a normal season.
In terms of that, I want to what Daniel said, the spring preparations. I mean, I know you practiced early in the morning, but you also dealt with a lot of weather, right, leading up to game one with some snow and rain. So talk about how that was in the preparation for this first game.
Yeah, it was certainly something that you deal with maybe at the end of a normal fall season is a little bit of snow on the field. But when an Arctic blast hits the entire country, I think it was certainly unusual. And so our guys did a great job adjusting to it. I'm really proud of them for the way that they showed up. As you said, we were on the field early in the morning, and sometimes even earlier to allow for field time. And we had to make sure we followed guidelines for weather medically to make sure that we weren't out in the cold weather for too long. So we would go out, go back inside, go out, go back inside. We were doing a bunch of that stuff. So our guys they had to adjust, and I give them a lot of credit for having a great attitude through it all.
We talked about this off mic about being an abnormal year. You take the weather, and then you take COVID, and you're playing spring football. If nothing else, people are never going to forget this. So it's an experience of a lifetime. But being a football coach, I understand the regimen is part of every football coach's thing. So with all that factoring in, did it drive you nuts, or did you just kind of go with the flow?
Well, yes, a little bit of all of it, right? Did everything we could to help the young men have a plan, right? But we said it all along, man, we just got to prepare to adjust, and we just kept our mantra, what does this make possible? Every time we got a curveball our way, what does it make possible? How does it help us prepare for a different challenge coming up? Or how does it, maybe the COVID world allow us to learn to be better teachers as coaches, all those little things that we really work to carry forward into the season.
Daniel?
Can you give us some examples of kind of like those curveballs that you were talking about? Like maybe some instances that happened that you guys kind of had to jump through a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like anything, we've had some, COVID affect the team a little bit, and so finding different personnel that's ready, juggling guys from position to position, making them. But that, again, what does this make possible? It just gave them a better understanding of the offense or the defense, right? as a lot of meetings at this point we have to do not in person because we can't have our guys all sitting in the same room. And so finding creative ways to teach that maybe might engage them a little bit more, right? Because we talk about this generation is so used to learning in that medium, right? That our ability to tap into that, I think, is going to make us better teachers in the long run for that. And then, as I said, we were supposed to play UT Martin 2 weeks ago, and that game got postponed for the weather. And so just continuing to find different ways to create advantages for ourselves. And so now we get to go play them here this coming Sunday, and we've spent 2 weeks preparing for them already. So
yeah, you don't have to rush a game plan in for this
no,
week.
they certainly do not. Now they've got a new defense coordinator. They'll do a few different things, and got to study that video when we put this one to bed. But
well, yeah, take us through this week for the UT Martin week and what the players are going to do. I like to go behind the scenes a little bit. Tell them what the guys are going to be doing this week.
Yeah, so they'll come in and get a little light lift in today, just knock the soreness out of their muscles from the game from yesterday, and then we'll watch the video from yesterday and really give ourselves a chance to focus on us, right? There's an old coaching cliche that the teams make the most improvement between game 1 and game 2, and it's a cliche for a reason because it's true, right? But it's only true if we actually focus on ourselves. If we get too caught up in what UT Martin's doing, then we won't fix the mistakes that we made yesterday. And so I think this actually plays out really well for that. We spent 2 weeks working on these guys already. We can be really, really laser focused on ourselves throughout this week. So watch the video today. We'll give the players will have tomorrow off completely from football. Give them a chance to get focused on their academics for the week, get their bodies right, get tons of rest. As you mentioned earlier, we are a morning team. So Monday morning they get to sleep in. Tuesday morning they get to sleep in. And then Wednesday we'll get them up and we'll be in meetings at 7 a.m. and on the field at 8:15. And do the same thing on Thursday and Friday with, the hitting is early in the week on Wednesday, and we really try to ramp it down as the week goes along in preparation for Sunday, and get on the bus on Saturday and head down there and have a fun game.
UT Martin lost a close one this week. I believe it was 14-10. Have you seen any of that film yet, or are you?
The film actually isn't in. They had a 2-hour weather delay
I saw that,
during their game, and so the film's not actually in yet. What I did last night is fall asleep on the couch watching the ESPN Plus broadcast, or rebroadcast of it, and so I think I saw about the first quarter and a half. If I'm being completely honest.
That's what we want you to be. Yeah. Daniel?
Before the show, we were talking a little bit about games now being on Sundays. So can you tell us how does it feel having games on Sundays? Like, what's the difference now?
Yeah, I think certainly once you get into that game timing that we talk about, kind of we have an 11 o'clock pregame meal. Once you hit 11 o'clock, it wouldn't matter if it was Monday, Sunday, whatever day that is, it's game day. But before that, I think that there's certainly a different feel to it. Again, what does this make possible? I like to look for the advantages, and I think that having Saturday off as the season goes along will be a nice break for the guys, because they'll be able to get mentally and physically recharged. And a lot of times on that Friday, the day before the game, they still go to a full day of classes, and then we do our pregame stuff, or our night before stuff after they've been in classes all day. And who's kidding who? That's a mental drain on guys, right? And so I think that as the season goes, and as it's going to be a sprint of a season, not a marathon, this will allow them an opportunity to really recharge, unplug, get their bodies and minds right on Saturdays.
It's a 1 o'clock start this week, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. It was 2 yesterday. High school football starts in the area in a couple of weeks, and I guess there's a new NCAA rule that you can't go scout or do any research really this spring.
Yeah, can't be on the road, unfortunately. There's a dead period. It's continued they've continued this dead period, COVID related, obviously. For both ways, right? They can't come on campus to see us, and we can't go out to see them, and it's really just trying to protect our bubble, to not be out in the world, and trying to protect the high school bubble as well. They want to get as many games as they possibly can in, and so we'll still be able to, with technology these days, we can watch their video the next day. We're watching it on Huddle Online, so it's not quite the same as seeing the pregame warm-ups and kind of getting that Friday Night Lights feel to it, but we'll still be able to see the video.
Were you surprised they were playing on Friday night and not go to the Saturday afternoon where to be a little warmer?
I honestly I was, because they typically, Illinois will do that in the playoffs, throughout the playoffs as it goes on. But I think as it gets warmer here as the weeks go along, hopefully those Friday nights won't be too bad.
Good. No, I'll go. One of the things you talked about a lot is grades, but I know the other thing you've always been proud of since I met you, and you've been on campus for a couple of years now, is that being out. You want your kids out in the community. Unfortunately, for the last 12 months, we've been not allowed as much into the community. So, what are you doing to try to help them do stuff for the community, but from a kind of inside the huddle kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. It has been more of a challenge, but what our guys have been great. We've been doing some Zoom reading to the local elementary schools, right? So
nice.
we would often go out and visit them and wear our jerseys, and the guys that have a great time with it. I think our players have more fun than the kids do, to be honest. But so we've read books over Zoom. Guys did some Habitat for Humanity over the summer in small groups. They allowed it in very small groups, which is great. Yesterday's game was actually our game for raising money for rare diseases with uplifting athletes. So it's another community support, another foundation that we're supporting. So we're constantly finding ways to give back and kind of use our platform to make the community better.
One other thing go ahead, Danny.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go. Your turn.
All right. As head coach, I'm pretty sure you kind of set the tone for the energy and the mindset of the whole team. How have you been able to kind of keep your positivity up in order to inspire them to continue to keep going?
Yeah, well, shoot, we talk about our foundational values, our passion, attitude, investment, and discipline, and passion is first for a reason, right? That you show up every single day, and we lost a great member of our staff, Joe Orozco, our strength coach, and his motto is, if you're juiceless, you're useless. So that motto is plastered all over our walls, and truly, he was one of those guys that just showed up. It could be 3 a.m. or it could be midnight, and it didn't matter. He was 100% passion all the time, excited for life, and then we go into attitude and we say get to versus have to. Do you get to be there, or do you have to? And when you think about where the big picture of it, what they're doing, they're playing Division I college football, right? Getting a great education and playing with their best friends. What's bad about that, right? So yesterday wasn't a bad day. It was just, a day for learning and growth, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. We all want to win, but if you look at it and say, man, I got to go out and play football yesterday for 60 minutes and do it with my best friends in the whole world, there's some perspective there.
Yeah, I think the perspective, even with the spring, with everything going on, the fact that we're playing is good, because you're really, I think everybody's looking forward to the fall, because this really gives you like a 7-game stretch to prepare the guys for the fall. Not that you don't want to win now, I get that, but it's easy to stay positive week 1, but as you get into this week, when do you really ramp up to where you're telling the guys, hey, we have to play better against UT Martin?
Well, tonight, as soon as we see him at 5 o'clock, we have to play better. We cannot beat ourselves. And again, that I 100% believe that's on us as coaches, that if they're out there making those type of errors, that's because we either made it too complicated for them, right, or we didn't prepare them appropriately. And we could say all you want, 463 days, that's all excuses. We have to do a better job coaching them, and they've got to be receptive to it. And what I love about coaching this group of young men is they are receptive to the coaching. I guarantee they're going to walk in ready to get coached today at 5 o'clock, and that's exciting for us.
We are talking to EIU football coach Adam Cushing today on Issues and Attitudes. Now, the other big college sports football news of the weekend, SIU knocks off North Dakota State. So the whole, the thoughts on that and the craziness of this first week.
So happy for Nick. That's a great win for them, and I also happen to know Matt up at North Dakota State, but I'll tell you, it's just goes to show you, man, that it's not the best team that wins; it's the team that plays the best. And I got some snapshots of that game. I didn't watch it, from beginning to end, but Southern was the better team on the field the other night, and so there's no question about it. That it's great evidence that it doesn't matter what happened last week or what happens next week or who you have on your sideline. It's show up and play on that given day.
One of the things I noticed looking at the stats from yesterday's game, though, only 2 penalties against the Panthers yesterday, so that's something to build on. But there's always a couple of players that maybe surprised you, stood out. Let's talk some good news yesterday's game. Who stood out?
I'd love to talk some good news. Absolutely. Anthony Shockey, our Mike linebacker, had a phenomenal game. The stats bear it out. I think 11 tackles. I'm not certain on that, but
him and Crittenden left.
Yeah, Crit had a bunch of great plays as well. But was just really happy. Anthony played part-time last year behind a really good player for us, Joe Caputo, and we're just really excited to see him step up. Ray Crittenden, as you said, had a great game as well, playing back there in the back half at safety. He was kind of sideline to sideline, played the hardest I've ever seen him play. That was really exciting. We had so many true freshmen play in that game yesterday. Kalen Drake for Jordan Vincent started at the safety spots for us. You had Jaron Hotcha starting at nose tackle for us. You had Mike Young and Jordan Miles and playing a bunch of snaps at the defensive line as true freshmen. And so we were literally playing so many. And Colin Bohannon got in there at linebacker playing a bunch as well. I mean, I could keep Tyrus Harvey at corner. I'm going to keep on just rolling names at you because that's what it was yesterday. It was their first taste of college football for tons and tons of guys. And then there are other guys that Dwayne Cooks was our leading receiver yesterday, and he was not a major part of the offense in 2019, about last time we played. So it was really exciting to see him, but that's you've got to go out there and be that guy one time. And so great to see the way Dwayne played. Matt Judd had a great day for us at returning kicks, and he plays a bunch on special teams. He had a great block on that big run by Kendi Young, another true freshman for us.
Yeah.
So the positive news is that all those true freshmen that have never played college football, now they have. Now they play college football. So no more excuses. Let's go down to Martin, Tennessee.
It was coming. Daniel?
As we saw with this past basketball season, a lot of games were postponed, mostly due to COVID-19 protocol. So if the same thing happens with football and we're so close to the end of the school year, if we reach the end of the school year and there are games that still haven't been played, what's going to happen?
Yeah, so our conference, the OVC, has a protocol in place with that. We've actually built in a bye week at the end of the season to have the availability to reschedule games on, I believe it's the April 17th date. The playoff pairings get released on April 18th. So if there's a postponement due to COVID, that April 17th date is available. And then if it's too many, then quite frankly they'll just not get rescheduled. And then so there's it's funny that there's so many rules or bylaws written in to say if this happens then it's this, if that happens then it's that, just to make sure that there's a clean conference champion that gets our automatic qualifying bid to the playoffs, and that we make sure that we maximize opportunities to play football.
How many playoffs teams are they taking? They taking the full allotment this year?
No, we've reduced the field to 16.
Okay.
So there'll be 11 automatic qualifiers and only 5 at large. So those 5 at large are going to be incredibly competitive.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Mostly there's a lot of good teams. And they had a really good week this week, too.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yesterday on the field, I mean, we talked with the referees and everything, and did everything work well with the COVID? Or was there any issues? Or did it run smoothly? I mean, it's game one of this, so it's weird.
Yeah, no, I think that was actually a pleasant surprise. The crew, I thought, did a phenomenal job, the refs, and controlling it. And then, I think maybe the most unusual thing was not shaking hands after the game, right? And we had to, it's just a habit, and I had to stop myself from walking across the game. We kind of walked to midfield and did one of these to Coach Matukowicz. So, but yeah, everything else, I think our guys did a great job being masked on the sidelines, staying as much as humanly possible 6 feet when they could. There's times where football doesn't allow that, but we're so fortunate to have that shield testing that we have here on campus, to have the ability to keep our football bubble healthy and safe.
We can't have an EIU football conversation without talking quarterback. You played 2 quarterbacks yesterday. I don't know if that was the plan or not, but as you go forward, did Woodbury stay the starter this week, or do you?
Yeah, Harry's the starter. Okay. Obviously, he's got to play better for us to win football games, and he knows that. That's the best thing about Harry, is that he owned it as soon as the game was over. He knows that he's got to be better for us to win, but that's true freshman Otto Coons that you saw out there.
Yeah.
And Otto certainly had a nice little fourth quarter for us, and that's exciting because the backup quarterback is always that guy where you're like, is he gonna? Boy, he's never played college football. What's actually going to happen when he does go in? And you don't want to lose by 40 points to force him into action, but it gave us an opportunity to get him more than just a series where we're handing the ball off. He got to take some throws. He got to stand in there, get hit by a college football player, which he's never done yet. Right, all those little things. So I was really happy for Otto to go out there and perform the way he did.
Other little bit of good news: weather's supposed to be perfect this week for practice, as well as if you look all the way to game day Tuesday at Martin, or Sunday at Martin. So that's helpful, and you don't want to have any of those complications this week, it appears.
Yes, we'll take it. After the last couple of weeks, we will certainly take a weather break.
I remember driving by in the morning at about 7 o'clock, and then after the day of the snow, and you guys are out there. I'm like, holy cow! I am glad I'm not a college football player right now. But
always find a way.
Yeah, there you go. You got to. I know you last we talked, you're not big on setting goals but going into the season, but I don't know if that's always the way. But when this odd season, do you set goals like, hey, we want to do this, we want to get better at this, we want to win this many games, or I mean, conference championships always the carrot at the end, but how do you set goals in this odd season?
Yeah, I'm still a believer that the wins and the production on the field are a byproduct of our focus on our own individual controllables, right? Because we're going to play that was a darn good football team out there. They're not going to just give us our goals, right? So what can we control? Our goals are going to be to have maximum effort. The words we use are as hard as you can for as long as you can, and then control our assignment and execution. Because again, those are things that aren't physical, that aren't tussling with somebody else on the football field. We can control where we're supposed to be lined up and doing our job, and then it's go trust yourself at that point. But that's what I'm measuring as the head coach. All our coaches do such a great job breaking down every single line item and all the statistics and all those things. I just want to know, are we playing really hard, right? And are we lining up and doing what we're supposed to do? And the bottom line is, we played hard yesterday. That's a really encouraging thing, but we did not line up and do what we're supposed to do. And that's on us as coaches. I'm going to keep saying that. That's on us as coaches. We've got to coach them better.
Daniel?
I know the season just started, but has there been any talks of next season? Do you know if you're going to restart in the fall or you're going to wait till next spring?
No, we are. We're definitely starting in the fall. We're playing an 11-game schedule this fall, and that's all getting oiled up. Everybody's going to. That's the big push from the nationwide perspective, NCAA everywhere, is just to get to as close to normalcy this fall as we possibly can. And I think what you learn from the FBS season last fall and from what we're doing right now, that it may not be perfect, but there's certainly ways to do it, right? There's COVID protocols in place that we all understand it a little bit better, right? There's testing available that's much more readily available. So yeah, we've got an 11-game season this fall.
But the weird thing about next season, some of the kids that are seniors now get an extra year. So at what point do you have to kind of say, hey, are you coming back, not coming back, or do they automatically have the opportunity to come back if they want to? How does that work?
We've had some conversations already. There's a few guys that are ready to move on with their life after football. They want to have the best season they could possibly have this spring and move on. And that gets, you get to that point where guys are ready for that next phase of life. And then there's other guys that we're going to have that conversation. And the reality is we've got to balance the recruiting for the future with bringing the seniors back and giving them the opportunity. So there's a bunch of conversations that I've had with all the seniors already, and then we're going to make those final decisions as this spring goes on and figure out what the whole picture looks like.
Because you got to keep the scholarship count correct, and if kids should change, that's almost a math thing, and that's not I don't get involved in that. The other unfortunate thing that happened in the OVC is that Jacksonville State and Eastern Kentucky are going to at some point opt out of the OVC and join another conference. I mean, what are your thoughts on that as we go forward?
Yeah, so they're not gonna be on the schedule here in the fall of 21. So they're
it's already 21.
That's when they're starting. They're gonna move out. And so, they're obviously, from a geographic standpoint, they're the farthest away from here. And so I think it gives us an opportunity to really, evaluate and make a really strong football league, maybe even stronger. And from a budget perspective, those are the most expensive places to go because of their distance. And I'm sure they're feeling the exact same thing coming up here. And so hopefully we're able to really turn this into a really strong positive, find some schools that are really excited about the geographic footprint that we're in, and continue to play really, really good football. And I think that's the main part, is this is a really strong football league. Like I said, the team we played yesterday, obviously 2 straight playoff appearances. And so that's, our back-to-back champs in the last 2 years and back-to-back playoff contenders are both staying in league. It's going to be a heck of a league, and we're going to have a lot of people excited to join us.
Is the OVC searching for other replacements for the schools, or do you know yet?
I'm not sure exactly where that process is.
I know I'm asking you quite athletic director stuff, but
I know that we want to make sure that we get to a point that we fill out the league as much as we possibly can. I don't know where that process stands right now.
Okay. We have a couple of minutes left with Coach Adam Cushing, the EIU football head coach. Any other questions?
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about life after college football, because you mentioned earlier that some of your seniors are ready to go. So how does football kind of prepare them for their next stage in life?
It's my favorite part about football. It's exactly what it's intended to do, in my opinion, and it's why I do what I do, is because it gives you an opportunity to learn all those very challenging lessons of the value of hard work, what it takes to be great at something, that you have to show up every single day and do it. You can't just stumble into it. You have to truly put in the work. We talk investments, consistent hard work over time. We talk about resilience, right? We just got beat pretty good yesterday, but you know what? The world doesn't care. You've got to show up and do the work again. And I think that's what you learn. And then you learn being a part of something greater than yourself, right? My favorite part about football is that it takes all 11 on every single play to be great, right? Defensively, all 11 got to be flying to the ball. It could be the backside corner, but he's got a responsibility if the ball goes to the other sideline, right? Offensively, if one guy misses a block, all the other 10 guys could be perfect, and it's a negative play, right? And so understanding that, and there's a reason that college athletes become so desirable in the workforce, because they have that understanding of being part of the team, and then understanding sometimes it's not the role they want, but they got to do the role to the best of their possible ability. And so that's what I love about this game, and that's why I love teaching and mentoring young men, is to help them be prepared for life after football.
I don't know what you can or can't say today. Any big injuries, major injuries yesterday? Did you come out unscathed? Or?
To be honest, we get our injury, if we kind of give them the young men the day to come in on their own time, based around their class schedule, and check in with the training staff, get their treatment and all that. So I won't get the injury report here for about 2.5 more hours.
Okay.
But I'm hopeful that nothing major.
Fair enough. Let's ask some rapid-fire questions to Coach Cushing to get out of here. The fun questions not related to football as we move towards UT Martin next Sunday, right here, 1 o'clock on HitMix Radio. All-time favorite basketball player?
Oh, man. Michael Jordan. Grew up in Chicago.
I figured that was coming, but I had to get a favorite sports movie.
Jeez. Let's go Miracle.
That's a good one. Again. How many times do you watch like a previous game's tape? Not, like yesterday's game. Will you watch it numerous times or just one?
Well, I watch every phase one time, but that's rewinding the video on each play multiple times. So I don't know. Probably by the time you hit rewind enough times, it's probably 10 or 12.
There you go. Thoughts on EIU women's coach Matt Bellant and that dancing in the locker room video that's kind of quote unquote went viral?
I'm going to do my best not to impersonate it.
What other sports did you like to play besides football growing up?
Basketball and baseball. I thought I was a hooper, and then there wasn't any market for a 6'2" post that couldn't jump or shoot.
You got 30 seconds, Coach. One piece of advice for high school players wanting to play college football.
Show up and do the work every single day, right? Have your coach be able to say about you that no, he's the first to show, he's the last to go. He wants to be great, and he wants to be a positive influence on his teammates. Those are the guys we're looking for. There's tons of talented people out there, but we're looking for great teammates that do the work every single day.
Thank you, Coach Cushing. Good to see you. Best of luck this week.
Appreciate it, Jeff.
We are WEIU.